Tonight, on the final Friday before the federal election, the leaders make their final campaign pushes. Academics in Canada have been told to avoid non-essential travel to the U.S. Plus, strong sales and low inventory means rising house prices in Saskatoon.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It's Friday, April 25th, and welcome to the CBC Saskatchewan News. The last Friday of the election campaign saw Pierre Poilievre in Saskatoon. The Prairies are a region the Conservatives are counting on. And after recapping the agenda he set out over the last 4.5 weeks, he made his pitch to get the vote out.
I want a country with a big opportunity, as big as the prairie sky. That is my purpose in politics, to bring home Canada's promise, but it takes change to do it. And on Monday, we all need to vote for change. Now let's bring it home. Thank you very much.
Poilievre will be in BC, Calgary, and Sudbury on Saturday before wrapping up his campaign in Southern Ontario on Sunday. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh campaigned in Toronto, doubling down on his party's pledge to defend healthcare and prioritize affordability for Canadians.
In this budget, in the first budget, we want to see commitments to help us get to a point where every Canadian has access to a family doctor. And we want to see an expansion of our pharmacare to include all essential medications in year one.
Singh says his party will fight to cap grocery prices and enact national rent control. He also pledged to close offshore tax loopholes, adding that they'll use the next budget to fight back against Donald Trump's trade war. Liberal leader Mark Carney spent his final Friday before the election visiting Algoma Steel in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario.
President Trump, his words and actions, he wants to divide us because dividing us would make his job easier. He's trying to break us so that America can own us. And that will never happen. We will stand with the auto workers, with the forestry workers, the aluminum workers, and above all, the steel workers.
He's putting a spotlight on one of the hardest hit industries, facing Donald Trump's tariffs on global steel and aluminum imports. Sault Ste. Marie could become ground zero for Canada's economic crisis. Carney also met with other community members in the region before ending his day with a rally in London, Ontario. One riding the Liberals will be closely watching on Election Day is Regina-Wascana. It could be one of the only ridings in the province that has a chance to flip from blue to red. We've heard from experts about what might happen, but now we're hearing what voters are saying and what they think.
Oh, I would think the Liberal guy seems to be, and I usually don't, but he seems to be the guy to go and be the best matchup to get us to do the best we can against the states there. I would think my situation anyway. A lot of my people are thinking that too. Never voted Liberal in my life, but it's just changing times.
I just found that under the Conservatives, there's been more jobs for people like me, so I find that they treat people with disabilities really well.
I think established leadership that can withstand the arguments and the turbulence with our neighbor to the south is particularly of importance right now.
And there's a wrap of the campaign trail on the last Friday before the federal election. Now, as we know, any Canadian citizen over the age of 18 has the right to vote in Monday's election. This leaves most high schoolers below the voting age. But some schools in Regina are trying to inspire their students to vote in future elections. Liam O'Connor has more.
Elections Canada is testing out a new initiative to get young people engaged in the democratic process. Regina students at both Luther Collegiate and Riffle High School participated in the Inspire Democracy pilot.
We at Regina Leuven are absolutely thrilled that Elections Canada recognized that for democracy to remain strong, we had to begin to engage the younger voters who vote at about 50% of the rate of older voters.
Grade 12 classes had students run as candidates with party names and platforms and then cast ballots. A total of 85 students participated in the pilot. Avril Hitchke says the mock election gave her a real-world lesson. compromise is key.
I thought that was interesting because it kind of modeled how, like, the real political world, you can't really have all your desires met. You kind of have to settle sometimes. I thought that was interesting.
Zaheen Jina ran in the mock election. His Zaheen Democratic Party campaigned on diversifying the language courses at Luther. His election was deadlocked.
Actually, yeah, funny story. So when we voted for our parties, it was actually a tie in the end, and it was because 4 votes did not count because I colored outside the box.
Gina says it was an important lesson in following the rules and filling out the ballot correctly. Elections Canada says many of the students who participated in the pilot signed up to work the polls for the 45th general election. Liam O'Connor, CBC News, Saskatoon.
CBC News has you covered for election nights on Monday, April 28th. Chief Political Correspondent Rosemary Barton will be hosting with minute-by-minute updates as polls close across the country, starting at 4:30 local wherever you watch CBC News. And of course, we'll have all the Saskatchewan results on our website. The Canadian Association of University Teachers have issued a stark warning to its members. Avoid non-essential travel to the U.S. It comes in the wake of reports that academics are having trouble clearing the border. And as Alexander Kwan reports, that's creating a tough choice for some academics in Saskatchewan.
For University of Saskatchewan student Wendy Verity, being invited to an academic conference in the U.S. is a dream come true.
I'm late in my PhD program, so I'm going to graduate soon, and so this is kind of part of building a CV and forming research networks and that kind of thing.
But Verity has decided not to attend the conference in May after Donald Trump's attacks on universities and Canadian sovereignty. She wants to stand with Canada, even if that could make her future more difficult. In a message to its members earlier this month, the Canadian Association of University Teachers said academics from countries with tense diplomatic relations with the U.S. or whose research could be seen as being at odds with the current U.S. administration should be cautious crossing the border or avoid U.S. travel altogether. Other academics in Saskatchewan say they've also had to make a tough choice.
I really don't want to be part of the economy there. I don't want to spend my money, in the U.S.
Muhajireen says academic conferences are a chance to share and learn, but doesn't think that'll happen with Trump in office. He recently declined an invite to a conference in Atlanta. Even though he has a Canadian passport, the Sri Lankan-born academic fears being detained under Trump's new deportation policies. And he's not the only academic on the fence.
I am hearing a lot of stories, more anecdotally, that a lot of professors are now rethinking this. Many have canceled plans.
Mitchell says it's a situation that would have been inconceivable years ago.
It does feel very unprecedented for Canadian professors who are quite privileged in many respects, who have many protections for the most part, who value academic freedom of expression, who are now very concerned about the prospects of going to the United States.
Muhajireen says the decision to boycott travel to the U.S. may harm the exchange of ideas, but he's taking a principled stance.
We have to think twice about the decisions we make, and hopefully a time will come when things will get back to the way they were.
Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Regina.
The University of Regina Students' Union is taking the university to court. The decision comes after the university terminated its fee agreement with the Students' Union earlier this month. Administrators said they had lost confidence in the organization after reviewing URSU's audited financial statements. On Thursday, URSU filed a lawsuit over the dispute. The union is arguing that the university is intervening in student governance with no student consultation. The university says it's disappointed with the suit and has no further comment while the matter is before the courts. There are nearly a dozen Saulteaux communities in Saskatchewan, and in those communities are working to keep the Saulteaux language alive. Elders from Saulteaux nations across southern Saskatchewan gathered in Yorkton this week to discuss the future of our language in the province. One elder says it's crucial to keep it alive.
Without the language, the ceremonies will be over. And the elders have gotten together within the last 5-6 years to try and get the language being spoken and taught to our young people.
Cusens urges more parents to start speaking Saulteaux at home with their children. He says children need to learn from their parents because the lessons at school don't appear to be sinking in. The Al Ritchie Recreation Center looks a little brighter after the unveiling of a mural called Nature's Blossom. It reflects the community's resilience, spirit, and beauty. The project is part of the Canada Connects Mural Mosaic initiative, which is spearheaded by Louis Lavoie. It is the first mural from the Canada Connects project in Regina. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. Saskatoon's population has been rapidly growing, but housing hasn't kept up. Aishwarya Duda has the latest on an all-time home prices and a dwindling inventory.
If you own a home in Saskatoon, you could sell it for a lot right now. But if you want to become a homeowner, it just got more expensive than ever. Housing prices in Saskatoon just reached an all-time high, with homes being sold up to $100,000 over the asking price. And while sales are going strong, inventory is so low that if no new homes are added to the market in the next month, there won't be any available.
So you have strong sales with really low inventory, and because of that, there's lots of people that are bidding on a very limited amount of homes, and because of that, there's bidding wars. People are offering well above asking price, and so that's driving up home prices.
Buchanan says even if you can afford to get into the market, you'll likely be outbid and priced out. Just like Abdullah Abrar, who moved to Saskatoon with his family a few years ago.
This one was listed for $570, I think, like a few weeks ago when it sold already.
Abrar has been trying to buy a home since last summer.
It's frustrating because you're spending like $500,000. You're in it for like the next 20 years of your life, so it's frustrating. You have to be quick on your decision, and it could turn out good or it could turn out bad.
Abrar wants to buy a house for his family, but he eventually wants to find a house for himself, and that dream seems to be slipping farther away. The unbalanced housing market is also impacting affordability.
When me and my family first moved to Canada, we were in Ontario for the first 4 or 5 years, and there was no chance in hell we were ever gonna put our foot through the door, buy a house, do that. We moved to Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. That's where I grew up, and that was the first place my parents were able to purchase a house. And the reason they were able to purchase a house is the affordability.
So what can home buyers do right now? Get pre-approved, talk to your realtor about how to make your offer more desirable, and make it quick or you'll get outbid. Aishwarya Duda, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Premier Scott Moe has officially endorsed Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party in the upcoming federal election. Post-media political columnist Murray Mandrick joined Sam McKeag on the Morning Edition this Friday to break down what it means.
It's not shocking that Scott Moe is a Conservative. Maybe a little shocking that they're finally admitting that, in essence, the Sask Party is the provincial wing of the Conservative Party, because it long has been. You got 3 candidates running in Saskatchewan that are ex-Sask Party MLAs right now, so that's kind of telling. That said, what's more shocking to me is that he's setting himself up for a bad relationship with the next Liberal Prime Minister, which, once again, maybe not shocking, given that this is his stock and trade, which is to be fighting with Ottawa. But I don't think it's helpful. This is not what premiers usually do. They usually set partisanship aside, particularly during election campaigns, in both ways, because they do have to work together. I thought that the endorsement wasn't particularly effective because it's preaching to the choir. I don't know who, other than Scott Moe fans, which are Conservatives, would sit back and say, gee, I really am interested or moved by this. I think it was way more interesting that Brad Wall, the former premier, put out a similar video, and I think probably more effective because I think Brad Wall would be better known outside Saskatchewan and maybe better considered outside Saskatchewan than Scott Moe, because he left here with a pretty good reputation as someone who built the province, etc., that has allowed us to enjoy the growth, I guess, we have, or at least that's sort of been the narrative. I don't know who is going to basically say, I'm more inclined to vote Conservative because Scott Moe said he is, or said that we have problems with Ottawa because he said that a million times before. So I guess the really interesting question is, what was the motivation for this video? Like some people sort of say it reeks of desperation on the part of Conservatives, but that's just simply not true here. I think most of the Conservatives are pretty solid. Lord knows what's going to happen in the North, because we never do know. But I think generally speaking, most of the Conservatives who averaged a 48% win in the last election in terms of popular vote, and none of them finished below 45%. They don't have much to do to win this election, so I don't know really kind of what we're going to accomplish within the province, and I don't know where this takes us outside the province in terms of moving votes elsewhere.
Helena Mahalik is now in with a look at weather. And Helena, last weekend it was your typical spring. Cool, rainy, dreary. And I hear this weekend is going to be the complete opposite.
Complete opposite. You know, at the beginning of this week, we were even seeing snow. It is not that at all. We're seeing temperatures more like summer. Let's take a look at just how warm it got in south and central Saskatchewan. So in the south, we were seeing temperatures in the high plus teens, but nowhere quite getting up to the plus 20 mark. Different story, though, in central Saskatchewan, as many places got even to the plus 20 mark Friday. And even in the Churchill region up north, places were getting to the plus 20 mark. And in the far north, sitting at the nice plus teens. Because there was no rain and no flurries, it's making for a nice, clear evening for all of the province. We're only seeing some wind conditions this evening at places in southern Saskatchewan like Regina, but even places around Saskatoon and Swift Current could see up to 40 kilometers an hour winds. And because there wasn't much weather activity, we're seeing just a very clear Friday evening that's going to continue Saturday morning. By Saturday evening, though, we'll see some mixed conditions, maybe some rain in the northern grain belt around the La Ronge area. By Sunday morning, that's going to move even lower, so places around Prince Albert and in the west central parts of the province may be feeling some rain. Sunday, we're seeing some mixed conditions come in central and west central, so places around Kindersley and Saskatoon could see a mix of some rain or even some flurries in some areas and a bit of rain in the Regina area as well. But by Monday early morning, that's moving south towards Regina, and they could be seeing a mix of some rain or potentially some mixed weather there. Friday evening, we are seeing those up to 50 kilometers an hour wind gusts. Saturday afternoon, it's dying down in central, but places around Weyburn in the south could be feeling some of those 50 kilometers an hour winds. Sunday evening, it's back to central Saskatchewan, where they're going to be feeling up to 50 kilometers an hour winds gusting. We are seeing a high pressure system rolling in, bringing us, again, that nice, beautiful spring conditions Saturday afternoon. Much of the same story Sunday. We are going to see again temperatures on the weekend up to plus 20 or the high plus teens. But, you know, up for Election Day Monday, we are seeing that high pressure system rolling out just a little bit in Saskatchewan. So temperatures may drop down just a little bit to around even the plus 10 mark down on Monday there. So temperatures may feel cooler in coming days.
Well, Helena, myself, and the rest of Saskatchewan, thank you for this beautiful weekend.
Thank you, Dan.
That man is Bryan Adams, and that is his big hit, Heaven. Adams announced this week 19 shows across Canada as a part of his North American tour this fall. His first show will be in Kamloops, and yes, a stop in Regina on September 28th. The tour is supporting his 17th album, Roll with the Punches. Adams says the shows will be pulling from the classic, some deep cuts, and a new album as well. Tickets will go on sale on May 2nd. We'll be back after the break. A sharp-eyed grade 2 class from Edmonton's St. Paul Catholic Elementary is helping write the next chapter of the city's hockey history.
Let's go Oilers! Let's go!
During a recent field trip to the Royal Alberta Museum, the students noticed something from the Oilers archive display that was missing, and that was any memorabilia from last year's thrilling Oilers playoff run. Back at school, they decided to do something about it, so they wrote a letter to the team.
It's my favorite team, and I really love the sport hockey.
And so when they had an opportunity to see that display case with things from the 80s and the 90s from that Oilers era, they were super excited, but also feeling a little bit concerned that there was nothing from the current era, being McDavid and Draisaitl.
The Oilers answered with a donation of a puck, a cup, and a pom-pom from last year. Now the donation is being made official. The museum visited the school to thank the students and accept the artifacts for their collection. A lesson in civic pride and proof that even the smallest voices can make big plays. With one last look at weather, Helena Mohalik is in to join us. Helena, how is the weekend looking?
The weekend is looking gorgeous in all of Saskatchewan. We're going to be seeing sunny skies and nice weather. Let's take a look at how warm it's going to get in Regina. We're seeing a mix of sun and clouds throughout the week, and temperatures in the weekend staying in the nice high plus teens. We may see a chance of rain Sunday, which could cause temperatures to drop in time for Election Day to around just above the plus 10 mark. We may see some rain Tuesday as well, but slowly temperatures will climb, and by Friday they'll be back around the plus 20 mark. We could see a few days here and there of a bit of a breeze, but overnight we will be seeing above average temperatures for this time of year. Saskatoon, we're seeing mostly sunny skies all throughout the week. Saturday even plus 20, and Sunday high teens. Monday you might want to grab a jacket on your way to the election, still hanging just around plus 10, but temperatures will be jumping back up to the plus teens and even plus 20 by Friday. We could see a bit of rain Tuesday, but temperatures will be above freezing overnight and above seasonal for this time of year, Dan.
Looks great. Thank you, Helena, and have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend, Dan.
And that's all we have for you for now. For more news anytime, head to cbc.ca/sask or subscribe to the CBC YouTube channel. Don't forget, download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks for watching. See you again.